Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalk. My name is Jay Gonzalez, and I'm blessed with the opportunity to serve our wonderful school district as superintendent of schools. Today, we're going to be talking about overall wellness and the importance of creating a quality learning environment for all of our schools. And that goes beyond just teaching and learning with regard to the X's and the O's and the ABCs, but it really goes into the overall physical plant and the overall well-being of our children and our staff. Today, we have Mrs. Adalia Del Bosque, who's our director for comprehensive school health. We also have Mr. Ruben Trevino, who is our executive director for facilities maintenance and operation. We'll be talking to Miss Alex Molina, who is the director of child nutrition programs, and with Erica Flores, who is the director of transportation. So Ruben and Adalia, welcome. Thank you all for being here today to talk about this very, very important topic. And Adalia, for the parents out there that are listening, I know that right now it's the flu season. My children, they're in elementary school right now. All three of them got the flu last week, and they're doing well, thank goodness. And our RN did a tremendous job at their elementary school servicing them. But what advice do you have for parents with regard to keeping their children healthy as possible when it comes to the flu or strep or stomach bugs and things of that nature?
Dr. Gonzalez, as a parent myself and an educator at McAllen ISD, I want to assure all the parents that they're in good hands. We've got high quality RNs. We want to make sure that their kids are well taken care of. One advice that I would give to all parents is to make sure that their students are getting a good night's rest, or their child is getting a good night's rest, drink plenty of fluids, make sure that the child is always communicating with their parents to make sure that if they're ill, their child is going to tell them, I'm not feeling well, my sore throat is not well, I'm vomiting, I just don't feel well, Mom. One thing that I can tell you that our nurses are well prepared to take care of their child when they come in. They're going to get fully assessed. They're going to be well taken care of. They're going to be communicating with their parents.
And that's one of the benefits of McAllen ISD. I know that you've been with the district a long time, but to know that every one of our campus has a registered nurse is something that should give parents peace of mind. And when you look at the flu and you look at strep and you look at all these things that we've been dealing with, but not only McAllen, but really across the state, across the nation, across the world, these are things that people deal with. There's just certain steps that people can take, certain steps and preventive measures that we can take. What are some of the things that people need to do to do their best to avoid getting the flu or strep or things of that nature?
The best common advice that I can give you, and it's something that has been with us even back in nursing school. Even my mom would say, make sure you're washing your hands. Make sure that when you cough, you're covering your cough. Make sure that if you are not feeling well, let me know. And we want to make sure that in McAllen ISD, we have those quality nurses, making sure that we're training our students, training our staff, providing that education for our students to make sure that they're, doing the healthy hygienes of, one simple hand washing is going to be a big factor in reducing cross-contamination and even an exposure to germs.
Very good. And we know that we're dealing with kids, right? So we do our very, very best to get them to wash their hands. But at the end of the day, there's other measures that we need to take. So Mr. Trevino, once again, thank you for all that you do for facilities maintenance and operation. But from a physical plant standpoint, we know that quality of learning environment plays a key role. So you look at lighting quality, air quality, noise pollution, overall sanitation, things of that sort play a key role in what Adalia just talked about. What are some measures that we're taking as a school district with regard to the overall cleanliness of our buildings and really sanitizing them to help prevent against these illnesses?
One of the big items that we currently do or practice here at McAllen ISD is the implementation of using our product that we call Gold Shield. We apply that with foggers between every 10 to 14 days at every campus. We also have custodial supervisors that will perform daily inspections. They're on a daily schedule, weekly schedule, and they're performing daily inspections of classrooms, of office spaces that are used on a daily basis by our children and staff to ensure that they're properly cleaned, properly maintained. and that is what we have in place right now.
Well, that's definitely going the extra mile, and I appreciate. I know it takes a lot of extra work to do that, and I know that teachers also use sanitation wipes and things of that sort during the day, so they're constantly using the Clorox wipes and things of that. But what is Gold Shield for those that are out there that don't necessarily understand? How does it work? What's the process for administering or getting this on surfaces?
Gold Shield is an antimicrobial agent that is used to apply on your desktops on hard surfaces. It has a window of 14 to 30 days. We like to make sure that we reapply it every 14-day period, and that goes on throughout the school year, from the beginning of school to the end of school. We work closely with our health services department. Whenever we have an outbreak of flu at a particular campus or something, we will reapply it and make sure that we go through every classroom, every desk, every doorknob, nurses station, administrative offices. The whole building will get the agent.
Yeah, and I've seen you do that. I've seen you call audibles where you have a schedule for the Gold Shield, but you'll get a call from a principal or from myself, and we'll say, hey, we've had X amount of outbreaks with flu, and you'll say, no problem, let me get this campus on the schedule, let me rearrange that because we have X amount of kids that are out now, and I know that you're really good at adjusting, calling audibles, getting staff over there to make sure that if we do have a specific campus, and my children's campus was one, that there was an outbreak. I mean, kids were getting it, and you did a good job of getting the crew over there, and we were able to see that there was a reduction in the kids that were getting the flu. You know, part of it was kids were staying home now, and that's a big part of. You talked about steps that parents need to take. I was researching this morning, and I know that from a current event standpoint, something that people are talking about across the world is the coronavirus. So I was sitting here thinking, well, let me do a little research on that. And one of the things that I found is that the Texas Department of Health Services, and their website's updated daily, but as of yesterday, it stated that the risk for all Texans remains low. So I thought, well, that's good news. We're dealing with the flu, we're dealing with strep, we're dealing with stomach bugs and things of that nature. But from a coronavirus standpoint, the risk for Texas is low. And Adalia, I was speaking with you earlier this morning. You mentioned you went to a meeting and there was a public service announcement. Tell us about that.
Yes, there was a public service announcement made. And again, the stress was set that rest assured for the community that the threat for the coronavirus is low. And Mr. Olivares is our county health administrator that spoke very highly of just the statistics that we have. We have one confirmed case in Texas, but that case, of course, was from China, that they were traveling and they quarantined that individual, but no other cases have come in after that.
Good. And tell us about for those individuals that don't know about the coronavirus, can you give us a little information about what it is? There's
7 common coronaviruses, and they're like the common cold. This new coronavirus is a novel virus. The CDC is still evaluating. It's a new virus, so we are keeping close contact with our local state and CDC agencies to make sure that we monitor the situation because it's such a new virus. But again, I want to assure our community that we are following the same surveillance and tracking as we do for influenza, that it's very similar to the symptoms that an individual would have with flu. I'm highly encouraging individuals, if they haven't gotten immunized against the influenza, to do so, because those are very similar symptoms that we're seeing with this new novel coronavirus.
Well, that's good news. I know that when you look at how in-depth the Texas Department of Health Services is with regard to their research and how well they keep up with current events, and as things transpire, they will update their website. So for anybody out there that was wondering about the coronavirus in Texas, it's clear to us through that information that the risk for Texans is very, very low. But one of the things that I realized in doing that research and in looking at that website is the very same measures that people take to avoid the coronavirus in parts of the world that are dealing with it are the same measures that we take, measures that you mentioned, like washing your hands, covering your cough, making sure that you not only wash your hands, but wash them for 30 seconds and do it often, and making sure that if you're sick that you stay home. And just those same measures were just good practices. So I think to the community, if we can work as parents to coach our children on doing those things, then it'll go a long way, because at the end of the day, we can do our part as a school district, but I need to do my part as a parent at home. And then we need to do our part as directors of divisions. And if everybody's pulling in the same direction, then we give ourselves the best probability of avoiding all of these things. But once again, it was very nice to see from the Texas Department of Health Services that the risk for Texas is low. But nonetheless, we still have issues with the flu and strep throat and other illnesses, and we'll continue to do all the things that we do from a facilities maintenance and operation department. We'll continue to leverage our RNs. And how many prescription drugs or how many pills do we administer on a daily basis, Adalia?
About 300, Dr. Gonzalez. So, I mean, again, we're here as nurses because we know that we take care of their child as if they were our own family. And we want to make sure that our community parents know that their child is well taken care of.
Good. So I know that as RNs, we look after our kids that way. And the medication that we administer is for all different sorts of things. It's not necessarily the topics that we're talking about. I know that we don't administer Tamiflu and things of that sort. But there's other medications that our nurses are very good at working with parents and making sure that their children are healthy. So I'm also looking forward to speaking with Alex Molina, who is the director of our food service program, and also looking forward to speaking with Mrs. Erica Flores, who is in charge, and she's director of our transportation department, so that we can kind of wrap this up and see that it's not one department, it's all of us making sure that our children are really not only healthy, but in a position to perform at their highest level, because a lot of people are taking care of them, whether it's Ruben's department in the facilities maintenance and operation department, making sure that gold shield is going on. And not only that, but the cleanliness and everything that we do, or whether it's Adalia working with our students with regard to the health side of things and with families. So it's really a big team effort, and all of that so that the teachers can teach and the students can learn. Welcome back to the Super Talk. Had a great conversation with Ms. Adalia del Bosque and with Mr. Ruben Trevino. And now we have Mrs. Erica Flores, who is our director for transportation. And we have Mrs. Alex Molina, who is our director for our child nutrition program. So excited to be talking to you all about something that's very important to us and making sure that we create a quality learning environment for our students. So Alex, talk to us about what measures we take from a food service standpoint with regard to sanitation and when it comes to preparing and serving our meals.
So some great things about McAllen ISD is that we have central receiving of all of our food products. So we're able to check them right on site before we distribute to campuses, so we know that the highest quality foods are getting to the campuses. From there, all of our staff use disposable gloves, disposable aprons, so that they're able to discard them between tasks and we avoid any cross-contamination of food. The gloves are done after hand washing as an extra barrier. So, and we really focus on our staff staying home if they're showing any signs of illness, because they are preparing foods for our kids.
And that's important. I know that when you look at teaching and learning, and when you look at the accountability system and how much we're asking our teachers and our students to do, a big part of that is making sure that our students are fueled up, that they have the proper nutrition, that they're ready to go to class and learn. So I do want to commend you, because I know that you prepare a lot of meals when it comes to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How many meals do we prepare on a daily basis?
We produce over 50,000 meals on our 4 meal services. So McAllen ISD is one of the few districts that still provides dinner across the district and even in our community sites.
So to all the parents out there, know that we provide a lot of meals and we take great pride in providing quality meals for our students. But the main message that I wanted to get across is that we go the extra mile when it comes to sanitation, that we make sure that we're doing all that we can so that when your child eats a meal, that it's one that's been prepared in a very clean facility and it's been delivered with a lot of care with regard to ensuring that there's no cross-contamination. And that's something that the community can rest assured that we got a great director that's really leading the charge there and an expert in that area. And it goes hand in hand with what we spoke to Mrs. Adalia del Bosque about and Mr. Trevino about. It's all wrapped together. And speaking of wrapping that together, we have Mrs. Erica Flores, who is our Director of Transportation, and you do a great job of getting kids from point A to point B, getting them to school, getting them home, getting to extracurricular activities. So there's so many moving parts, and more than that is you love and nurture the kids. So they're not only getting from point A to point B, but I've seen that our bus drivers are really nurturing and loving, and that gets them in the right mindset. So they get there, they eat the right meal, they get to the class, it's a clean facility, and they're taken care of with regard to the health standpoint. So it's just this perfect storm to make sure that everybody is taken care of. But Mrs. Flores, how does the transportation department keep our buses safe? And also, what do we do with regard to sanitation?
Okay, so our drivers really care about maintaining our buses. So they do daily inspections to keep them running in a safe, operable condition. One big thing that we're doing right now is we are disinfecting our buses immediately after the morning route and immediately after the PM route. What they're doing is they're going through each seat, and we're using a specialized disinfectant that are used at hospitals, and it's perfectly safe for our students. They are wiping down every seat to ensure that we're eliminating as many germs, as many viruses or bacteria that can possibly remain on the seats to avoid any cross-contamination. So we're doing that on a daily basis, and our drivers do care, so they put a lot of care into the wiping down of the seats. So
Very
it happens
good.
daily.
And I'm happy to hear that, because that's really going the extra mile with regard to every morning and every afternoon ensuring that they're sanitized. And we talked to Mr. Trevino. He talked about the Gold Shield. So when you go through this experience in McAllen ISD, you're going into a system where your child's going to have breakfast or lunch or dinner, and you know that Mrs. Molina just pointed out all the measures that are taken with regard to sanitation. And then you get into the classroom, and Mr. Trevino talked about the Gold Shield and all the steps that have been taken. But more than that, the bus that brought you there was also sanitized. And then you talk to Adalia Del Bosque, and she's a top-notch RN with RNs across the district, and everybody's just working so hard. So right now I know there's a lot of talk about things like the flu and strep and stomach viruses and coronaviruses and things of that sort. But rest assured that in McAllen ISD, we're taking all the measures necessary to keep our kids safe and to keep our staff safe. I'm very, very proud of the team and everything that we're doing, and excited about our future, and excited about the teamwork, the synergy, and our commitment to just getting better and creating great systems and processes. But it's because of individuals like you all. So thank you all for joining me on the Super Talk. I'm looking forward to getting this out to the community so that they can see the good work that we're doing. And if we work as a team with families, then we can give our kids the best chance of remaining healthy and learning at a quality level. So Jake, if any of our viewers want more information on today's topic, where could they go and where could they find more information?
Well, to get the most up-to-date information, I would go to cdc.gov, which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and they track every outbreak in the world. So they'll give you the most up-to-date information on any disease or outbreak that you might have a question on.
And also, if you want more information from the district with regard to any of our topics, you can call Community Information Department at 956-618-6023.